Most Muslim women would disagree. To answer a common question, I don't do matchmaking for guys who are looking for a second wife. Muslim women, today I'm going to give you a hot take. There is a way to determine whether a guy is likely to want a second wife. It has to do with a mixture of two factors: family culture and personality type. For culture, it's pretty obvious. All you really need to do is look at whether his dad, his brothers, his cousins, his friends are polygamous. For a guy to witness a normal polygamous marriage is a big decider on whether he will do it himself. Now, as for personality types, the most basic unit of personality type is introversion and extroversion. So let's go ahead and rank the combination of these two factors from most likely to want multiple wives to least likely. The most polygamous is a guy who has an example of polygamy in his culture, in his near circle, and who is extroverted. That results in the highest likelihood to want multiple wives. Again, we're not looking at individuals, we're looking at traits. That's why I call this a hot take. The second most likely is a guy who has polygamy in his culture and who is introverted. Third would be a non-polygamous extrovert, meaning he doesn't have an example of polygamy in his culture or his near circle, and he's an extrovert. And the lowest likelihood of wanting a second wife is a person who does not have an example of polygamy near him, and he's an introvert. Now, some of you think that extroverts are obviously more likely because they interact with more people and they're more social. That's not the reason I'm saying they're more likely to want more wives. It's the fact that extroverts are more influenced and they gain energy by outer objects and people. Extroverts famously have a tendency of losing themselves to the outer world, whereas the introvert loses himself in his inner world. Basically, the reality is that these two types, the introvert and extrovert, have a completely different psychic economy. That's just a fancy way of saying that they spend and receive energy in a different way from different sources. An extrovert gets energized by the outer world, and the introvert spends energy on the outer world. That's why extroverts are energized in social settings, and introverts are exhausted by social settings, because they are spending energy on that. So let me give you an example. If a woman is interested in a married man who is an extrovert, he is more likely to be affected by her feelings than his own feelings about the matter. Whereas an introvert would be more affected by his own feelings of the matter. Also, because an introvert doesn't receive energy from outer objects, it's very likely he will just be exhausted by the thought of having another wife. And listen up, personality types are very complex and individual, but I'm still gonna give this a hot take. The best way to prevent polygamy is to talk about it before marriage and put it in your marriage contract, your nikah.